Assalamu alaikum. This is Mongmar Singh welcoming you all to the English news from BTV Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. A Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus leaves New York for home, attending 80th session of United Nations General Assembly. The Chief Advisor urges international community to put effective pressure on Myanmar and Arakan Army over quick repatriation of Rohingyas to Rakhine. Mahanavami, a fourth day of Durga Puja being celebrated today. Relief Advisor calls upon to stay alert to face sabotage during the festivity. A month-long breast cancer awareness campaign begins. Chattogram City Corporation chalks out various programs marking the month. A global Sumud flotilla fleet reaches 150 nautical miles from Gaza amid Israel's instances to stop it. And European giants Real Madrid and Bayern Munich secure big wins in Champions League. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus left New York for home after attending the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly UNGA. A commercial flight of Emirates Airline carrying the Chief Advisor and his entourage departed John F. Kennedy International Airport at 11:10 p.m. New York local time on Tuesday. During his visit, Professor Yunus delivered his speech at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly UNGA on September 26. On September 30, he spoke at the opening session of the high-level conference on the situation of the Rohingya Muslims and other minorities in Myanmar at the United Nations headquarters. Besides, during his New York visit, Professor Yunus attended a reception hosted by U.S. President Donald Trump in New York. During the visit, Professor Yunus held meetings with United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and other high-level officials of the organization. The Chief Advisor also joined bilateral meetings with heads of governments and states of a number of countries including Netherlands, Pakistan, Bhutan and Kosovo. He is scheduled to return home on Thursday. Earlier, during his New York visit, Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus attended the opening session of the high-level conference on the situation of the Rohingya Muslims and other minorities in Myanmar at the United Nations headquarters on the Tuesday morning. The Chief Advisor said the international community must put effective pressure on Myanmar and the Arakan Army to immediately stop prosecution of the Rohingya and start working for their expeditious repatriation to Rakhine. Emphasizing the Rohingya repatriation as the only peaceful solution to the protracted Rohingya crisis, Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus proposed 7-point actions, including devising a practical roadmap for safe and dignified return of Rohingyas with reasonable stabilization of Rakhine.
Rohingya crisis originated in Myanmar. Its solution lies in Myanmar. The international community must put effective pressure on Myanmar and the Arakan Army to immediately stop persecution of the Rohingyas and start working for their expeditious repatriation to Rakhine. It is the only solution of the crisis. It should not be held hostage to broader reforms in Myanmar. Bangladesh is a victim of the crisis. We are forced to bear huge financial, social, and environmental costs. Criminal activities, including narco flows into Bangladesh through Rakhine, threaten our social fabric. Given our development challenges, including unemployment and poverty, we do not afford to allow employment of Rohingyas inside Bangladesh. As funding declines, the only peaceful option is to begin their repatriation. This will entail far fewer resources than continuing their international protection. The Rohingyas have consistently pronounced their desire to go back home. As an immediate step, those who recently crossed into Bangladesh, escaping conflict, must be allowed to repatriate. Towards a sustainable resolution of the crisis, I propose the following actions by the international community. First, devise a practical roadmap for safe, dignified repatriation of the Rohingyas with reasonable and stabilization of Rakhine. Second, exert effective pressure on Myanmar and the Arakan army to end violence against Rohingya and start their sustainable repatriation, beginning with those who recently arrived in Bangladesh and those who are internally displaced. Third, mobilize international support to stabilize Rakhine and place international civilian presence to monitor stabilization. Fourth, support confidence-building measures for sustainable integration of Rohingya in Rakhine society and governance. Fifth, mobilize donor contribution to fully fund the joint response plan. Sixth, pursue accountability and restorative justice. Seventh, dismantle the narco economy and combat transboundary crimes.
The conference was also addressed by President of the 80th UN session Annalena Baerbock, Special Envoy of the UN Secretary General for Myanmar Julie Bishop, UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi, Refugee Fellow Lucky Karim, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk, Rohingya student leader Muhammad Said Allah, Human Rights Commissioner of Malaysian Uthman Hashim, and Indonesian Foreign Minister Sugiono. Mahanavami, the fourth day of Shardiya Durga Puja of Hindu community, is being celebrated today with offering puja and anjali to Goddess Durga and sacrificing pumpkins, bananas and cucumbers at temples and makeshift mandaps across the country. The puja is being celebrated at 33,355 mandaps this year amidst stringent security arrangement. Dhaka Metropolitan Police said that Durga Puja is being celebrated at 254 puja mandaps across the capital city. Today, temples and mandaps are seeing the highest number of devotees and visitors as the 5-day festival will come to an end tomorrow on the final day of Vijaya Dashami with immersion of idols. On Navami, Dhunuchi Nach draws the special attraction as this one of the most exciting rituals of the Durga Puja. The clay pots are filled with smoking charcoal. Some people take the pot in their hands and start dancing. The daredevils try to balance the clay pot on their heads. Some who wish to be even more adventurous attempt to hold the pot by their teeth. Earlier, the Dhunuchi Nach was performed only by men. However, nowadays women are also emerging as Dhunuchi Nach dance experts. On Mahanavami, Goddess Durga is worshipped as Mahishasur Mardini, which means the annihilator of the buffalo demon. It is believed that on Mahanavami, the Goddess Durga killed the demon Mahishasura. Mahanavami is the penultimate day of the Navaratri, and it is dedicated to worshipping the Goddess Durga, who is believed to have manifested her full divine power on this day. It is also the day when Durga is believed to have defeated the buffalo demon Mahishasura, symbolizing the triumph of good over evil. In the morning, devotees performed different rituals and prayers to honor the Goddess Durga as Mahanavami Puja was offered. Navami Puja typically follows a specific sequence involving the recitation of mantras and the offering of various items such as fruits, sweets, incense, and lamps. In different temples, animals are sacrificed on this day as an offering to the goddess. The temples and mandaps have been illuminated and decorated gorgeously, marking the puja, as some puja mandaps were portrayed in different themes, signifying different aspects of the life and religious stories. Liberation War Disaster Management and Relief Advisor Farke Ajam Bir Pratik visited the puja mandaps of various upajilas of South Chattogram on the occasion of the Mahanavami of Sharadiya Durga Puja festival. He visited the Bonigram Sarvajanin Durga Puja Mandap of Bashkali Upajila, the Ramakrishna Shavaram Puja Mandap and the Dokhin Shikalba Sri Sri Lokanath Gita School Sarvajan Puja Mandap of Anwar Upajila, the Puja Mandap of Sri Sri Lokanath School premises of Kornafuli Upajila. The relief advisor exchanged greetings with the priests, devotees, visitors and leaders of Hindu community and inquired about the overall situation of the puja. Earlier, a view exchange meeting was held at the Bonigram Durga Puja Mandap premises in Bashkali. The Superintendent of Police Saiful Islam Shantu, Trustee of Hindu Religious Welfare Trust Deepak Kumar Palit, Joint General Secretary of the General Committee of Bangladesh Puja Udjapan Parishad Shamal Kumar Palit and leaders of various levels of Hindu community were present on the occasion. Speaking as a chief guest at the event, the Disaster Management and Relief Advisor said, Durga Puja is being held in a peaceful environment. Everyone should be alert to face any sabotage during this time. He also said a safe society will be formed through voting in the next national elections. A Chattogram City Corporation Mayor Dr. Shahid Hassan inaugurated a month-long breast cancer awareness campaign in the morning today with a colorful procession. The rally commenced from Chattogram Medical College Hospital and paraded various roads before concluding at the GEC intersection. During the event, the city mayor emphasized the critical role of awareness in preventing breast cancer, stating there is no alternative to awareness in preventing breast cancer. The city corporation is undertaking various programs throughout the month to create awareness on this issue. The editor of the Daily Azadi, M. Malik, the editor of the Daily Purbakon, Dr. M. Romisuddin Chaudhuri, Principal of Chattogram Medical College, Professor Muhammad Jashimuddin and Dr. Khurshid Jamal Chaudhuri, among others, were present. Now, international news. At least 59 more Palestinians have been killed in 24 hours amid Israeli attacks on Gaza. Since October 7, 2023, a total of over 66,000 people have been killed in Gaza, with more than 168,000 others injured. Meanwhile, a new poll by the New York Times and CNN University shows growing discontent with Israeli actions in Gaza. In October 2023, shortly after Hamas attack, American voters expressed stronger sympathy for Israelis, with 47% supporting Israel compared to 20% for Palestinians. But the latest poll now shows 34% supporting Israelis and 35% siding with Palestinians, while 31% remain undecided or support both equally. Notably, 40% of voters now believe Israel is deliberately killing civilians in Gaza, nearly double the percentage recorded in 2023. Meanwhile, the global Sumud flotilla said its fleet has sailed into the high-risk zone, 150 nautical miles from Gaza, where a previous flotilla were attacked or stopped by Israeli forces. UN Special Reporter Francisca Albanese and Colombian President Gustavo Petro have demanded that the flotilla be left to proceed unharmed. Ships from Spain and Italy have been sailing with the flotilla to ensure its safe passage through international waters, while drones from Turkey have been circling overhead in an apparent attack to monitor any potential attack. Italy said its frigate, which has following the flotilla, will withdraw. Israel has sworn to stop the Gaza-bound flotilla, claiming the volunteers are trying to breach a lawful naval blockade. But international law is clear on allowing humanitarian aid through. A powerful earthquake has struck central Philippines, registering a magnitude of 6.9. The quake caused widespread building collapses on Cebu Island, leaving at least 69 people dead. Authorities say rescue operations are underway, but warn the death toll could rise further. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake struck at 9:50 p.m. local time Tuesday, with its epicenter near Bogo City at the northern tip of the Cebu Island. The city, home to about 98,000 residents, reported 9 deaths, including 4 children. 3 of the victims were killed after their homes were buried in a landslide. Local police confirmed another 5 deaths in the nearby town of San Remigio, where 4 bodies were recovered from a sports facility, 3 of them members of the Philippine Coast Guard. Another child was killed after being trapped under rubble in the same area. 1 more person died in the Bulan. Rescue official Wilson Ramos told AFP that more people may still be trapped under collapsed structures. He added that aftershocks and nighttime conditions are making rescue efforts difficult and the number of missing remains unclear. The United States government shutdown began on Wednesday after Democrats and Republicans in the Senate failed to agree on a short-term government funding plan. The main disagreement was over healthcare spending, including continued funding for the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. The shutdown will temporarily halt some of U.S. government services, put the salaries of hundreds of thousands of government employees on hold. President Donald Trump has threatened to use the funding lapse to implement mass layoffs of government workers. Essential workers will continue working, some without pay, but some federal agencies are furloughing their staff.